Hi and welcome to David Tom Creations channel. Today, as you can probably guess, I am looking at my new TR-8S Rhythm Performer by Roland, and today is just going to be kind of like a bit of a quick first look, kind of brief overview, and then I'll kind of get into the ins and outs of using it in kind of later videos. So as you know, I have kind of been talking about getting some form of drum machine, rhythm performer, whatever you want to call them nowadays. Kind of standalone GrooveBox is probably the best description. So I've been talking about getting one for a while, and I've looked at the Akai MBC1, the Roland TR-6S, the 8S, and also Electron's samples. So there's obviously a bit of a different. I mean, they're all completely different kind of operating. The Akai. I mean, I've used MPC Beats software, and it does take a wee bit of getting used to. It's probably easier if you use Ableton Live because it kind of works in a kind of more similar way to Ableton than Logic, obviously. So yeah. So like I said, I've been faffing about with this for months trying to decide. So and the other thing is price. I mean the price difference is not much between the TRS and the MPC one. I mean they're both around about £600. But the Electron samples is about half that. It's about 260. And the TR6S is about 300. So yeah, basically half the price of a TR8S. But it's tiny. I mean, I mean, for somebody that's got quite big hands, I'm really not sure how you can kind of use these things. It's a bit like the Volca stuff. It's just absolutely tiny buttons and knobs and whatever. So, and like I said, the Electron samples. I mean, it's pretty good, but again, it's pretty small. It's pretty ugly, and it's just like it's a plastic box basically, and it has tiny buttons and what have you. So after all that, I kind of decided that the TR-8S is probably the best one, because I do like the faders, because that is a very quick way of just bringing stuff in and out, and I'm kind of used to been using that on some of the other gear that I've got. So yeah, so I like that, and I do like kind of the fact that you get all the Roland kits. You get 909s, 808s, 707s, 727s, and obviously you can load in your own samples as well. So as an SD card, you can load your own samples in, and add those, which is quite cool. So yeah, I mean, you probably know a bit about the TRS if you're watching this. So you've got your kind of your 11 tracks, and then you have 3 fills. So you've got 2 fills and a scatter, and obviously each track has its own instrument, and you can swap out those so it has 128 kits, but you can just swap out each sample if you wanted to from whatever kit you're using. So that's quite cool as well. And the version 2 update to this added FM synthesis samples as well. So there's a whole raft of new kind of FM stuff, and it was quite. I mean, there was quite a lot of other kind of additions to it, but that was the kind of main thing in version 2. So I'm on version 2.03, which is the latest version, and it was dead easy to update it using the SD card. So yeah, so you've got a lot you can do with it. You've got master effects, you've got individual control knob that you can assign the different effects to for each instrument. You got 8 variations for each pattern as well. So you have A to H variations for for each pattern. So so that's pretty cool. You've got autofill, you've got manual trigger fills. Like I said, you've got 2 fills and a scatter. You can do motion recording, so you can adjust the control knob or the pan, the decay and the tune as you're recording, and it will keep that as a motion record. You also get 8 analog outputs, so you can actually separate all the channels to the DAW as well, and it does actually have a built-in audio interface, so you can do all that over USB. And then you've got trigger out and external in, MIDI interface built in, so that's quite good. And you also get the TR-8 editor as well, which is software that goes, so it allows you to kind of do a lot more automation and what have you using that, which I've not tried yet. So yeah, so like I said, I'll hook the TR-8S up, and we'll switch over to my camera and carry on with this first look overview. Hi and welcome back to the intro overview of the Roland TR-8S. And in this part, I'm just kind of going to go over what I think about the general kind of build quality and a brief explanation of how it works. Yeah, so I mean, build quality, it is, I have to say, it's actually smaller than I thought it was going to be, but that's not a bad thing because it's still you know, big enough. But yeah, there is quite a weight to it. It is metal and plastic. So this front panel is all metal, and I think this sides are kind of possibly plastic. And it kind of has a kind of step bit at the side there, so it's actually quite good for when you're picking it up. So yeah, so you've got your 16 pads, and they're not actually rubberized pads. They're kind of plastic. So yeah, they're not like MPC pads. They're not. These aren't rubberized, but this one is. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, it's obviously something to do with the lights. So you can actually tap in a tempo with that button. So you've got your 11 sliders, and then they're all color coded, and you can change these colors as well to whatever you want, and it will change depending on the pattern. So I'm in hang on, let's see, I'll put my glasses on, that'll help. I'm in Mania Bongo pattern, which is pattern 4-1. So you can either use this to cycle through the patterns, or you can. So each pattern has there's eight banks of patterns and 16 patterns within each bank. So you can either use this, so that's going 1, 2, 3, up to 16, and you can see it's moving along there, and the lights are changing as well. So that's pattern bank 1, pattern 7, etc., etc., and the tempo and everything, and then you can see the motion controls on, or the autofills on, or the master effects are on, so it retains all that information. And it kind of starts off with a pattern called White Woman IG, which I'm not quite sure. There's not actually much in it. It's a pretty much initialized pattern. And if you want to see what kit you're using, it is the TR-808 kit, and that is kind of the default kit. So yeah, and like I said, the knobs are really nice. They're kind of rubberized. They've got a nice kind of resistance to them. All these pads are rubberized, and then you've got your individual instrument. So that's your bass drum, snare, low tom, mid tom, high tom, and you can see there's nothing in the sequencer. You got your rim shot, hand clap, closed hat, open hat, crash symbol, and ride symbol. But like I said, you can assign these to anything. You don't have to have those, but that is the default kind of kits that come in. You've got a mute button as well, and you can also solo by hitting shift, and that will mute that. So yeah, so like I said, pretty good overall build quality and nice feel to everything. Sliders, tempo knob, got a nice kind of clicky to it. You've got shuffle button. So yeah, so you've got your main volume control, you've got your shift clear, so you use shift to get to the secondary. So you've got edit, 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 nudge, and then pattern settings and whatever. So you've got your TR-8 record, you got your last note, so you can reduce it from 16 steps to or last step. You can reduce it from 16 to whatever you want. And you've got sub button, and you've got your motion recording on and record. Then you've got insta play, so you can tap in the that's the bass drum. You can tap in, or you've got instant record as well, so you can tap in and record at the same time. You've got your 8 variations that go A to H, and you can copy these to each other. So if you create a pattern in variation A, you can copy and paste it into pattern B just by pressing the copy button. So that's pretty cool, and obviously you can like change these. You can add fills to these and whatever. And then you've got your top row is your accent step. You've got your reverb level, your delay time and delay level and feedback. You've got your master on and control knob for the master on. You've got autofill, and you can go from 2 to 32 on the autofill, and then you've got manual trigger as well. And then you've got your kind of kits, instruments, samples, the control select. So if you press that, you can assign a different control to each of the instruments, because it will, whatever pattern kit it will come with something already assigned to that. And then you've got your utility, which is your main kind of settings, and you can go through these. So you've got general, and if you shift, you can change. So you've got sample, LED, reload, sample, LED, sync tempo, MIDI, sound, mix out, assign out, external in, utility initialize, so you can initialize a pattern, SD card, you've got format, and then information and the version. So that's it. So yeah, so it's pretty intuitive, and to be honest, you don't have to do an awful lot of menu diving, which was one of the reasons that I got this instead of the MPC-1, because watching the videos on the MPC-1, there did seem to be a huge amount of menu diving, even though it's touchscreen. You were either going into the touchscreen a lot or the menu or whatever. So yeah, and I can't really be arsed with that. Very nicely designed, and like I said, there's a nice amount of resistance on these. So your top layer is tune, your middle layer row is decay, and your bottom layer is control, and obviously that is for each instrument. So yeah, so pretty good. I mean, it's really good for live playing, because you've got all these parameters that you can change without having to, like I said, menu dive. So like I said, this first kit there's nothing on it. It's basically just I think one yeah, it's just a kick drum. So quickly, I'll just show you how to set up. We can just put a 4 on the floor in, and then you can tune that as well. You can adjust the decay, and the control knob is set to the balance. And then you've got snare. So you can adjust that. Then you've got your low tom. Mid tom, high tom. And if you want to put a half beat in, you can just press shift and it'll put a quiet step in it instead. So if I hopefully you can hear that. And then you've got your rim shot. Clap. And close pat. And open hat. Gate symbol, and that is ring blip. Right, so you get the idea, and like I said, you can just adjust the tempo, take that down to 130, and if you go back to pattern select, you can just change the patterns as it's running. So we'll go from pattern to 1 to pattern 2. So this is Soul House, or Soul House, Soul House. And you can see it's set up the tempo at 125, and it's using its own Soul House kit. So anytime you want to see what instrument's playing, you just press instrument and it'll tell you that's EDM 909 kick 1, 707 snare, the FM punch, and that's a chord. rim shot's got a mallet, hand clap has got a hand clap, I've got FM hi-hat, and we've got the same thing on both the open and the closed for some reason. There's a cymbal on the crash, and the ride cymbal has got a ride cymbal, 909, and that's FM cymbal. So that's not actually. So there's nothing on the ride either. So yeah, so that's and like I said, you can just, well, I'll play through the first few. So you've got chaos pattern, and you can see that's going to cycle through the 8 variations, and you can see it's had motion recording and also the master effect is on. You can hear that. And then we'll just do a trigger. And you can adjust the shuffle as well. So that is 0 shuffle when it's in the middle, and then you get -128 plus 127. And then we can put the master reverb. And then we've got Radio Lab. Samba work, which is only got 2 variations. Command control. Water level's quite nice. This is quite nice one. Bit of in a house. Hey, Bill. Flying object is pattern 8. Cellar session. Is borax. Halftime beat. Tin house is 12. It's using the clack kit. Very nice. Look at that. Lost Moon, and then whatever that is. $sign and whatever that is. gone. Right, so that is the first 16 patterns, and to be honest, I haven't even gone through the whole 128 yet. So yeah, I'll just hang on, adjust my mic. Right, so that is pretty much a quick intro to the TR-8S, and like I said, I will be doing a few more once I get to grips with it and do some live performing and get this hooked up with the wave state and see what we can do with both of those. So yeah, let's just play out with a pattern from, let's see, what's this? Aquarian Matador. Which is very nice. Right, there we go. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.